I remember once upon a time I cracked open an economics textbook on the channel and was talking about competitive forces and market forces on goods and the industries. And I made a lot of different analogies. And somebody told me and said that I was an idiot for comparing the video game industry for the car industry. I blocked them because I know that that person was probably wanting to argue in bad faith. But, if people like that are going to exist and maybe drive the narratives or become majority of the people who listen to the conversation, it's going to be hard to drive home what I think is a lot of the reality around gaming and the economic aspect. But now there's one at the front and center, and I think many gamers are starting to actually see that gaming has never been immune from market forces and economic forces. In fact, this one's even much worse. This is actually political driven economic forces. Because yes, there are economic aspects to things which have had its own consequences, whether it be positive or negative. But this one is expedient because there is a political agency or expediency attached to it. Now, as to your politics and whatnot, I couldn't be bothered. Don't even try that. I hate politics. Don't vote. Had the opportunity to vote as a citizen of two different nations and have not taken it. Don't care to. But economics is a reality. I got to walk into the store. You got to walk into the store. And this is where we are right now. Nintendo, on the other hand, I think are in a very strange place. They're, in fact, in between what I think is a rock and a hard place. And I don't think any amount of preparation could have actually set them up to be ready for something like this. They have a few plays that they can put into implementation to come out of this, but it doesn't matter how much brand loyalty is out here. The moment these tariffs start to hit everybody, it's going to be very interesting at the end of the day. I remember saying in a video a while ago that Nintendo, in its Switch launching in 2017, was fortunate to have actually been, in a place where economic forces were in its favor. What's funny is when the Switch, oh my goodness, when the Switch 1 launched, guess who was president at the time? The same person that's president right now that's going to implement these tariffs that seem to have some sort of or maybe will have some sort of a negative effect on Nintendo themselves. Not saying that anything could have been done in that administration or even in this administration or whatever it is, but it's just really weird, don't you think? Let's look at the data on hand, look at the evidence. Apparently, Mike Straw's writing that Nintendo delays Switch 2 pre-orders in the US due to President Trump's tariffs. President Trump's tariffs are apparently a reciprocation based on other tariffs put on us and things like currency manipulation and trade barriers. So this is actually not reciprocal if you were to actually ask me, but some sort of estimation in terms of what the tariffs look and impact upon the citizenry like. I guess that's how you put it. Economics is weird. It's kind of weird because, yes, there will be trade barriers. It happens in every nation. Say a nation doesn't want you to come in and just, override their market. They will put barriers on foreign, entities, investors, and goods and all that. So here we are, Japan getting hit with the 46% tariff, but they're not even the next side of this issue. It's actually Vietnam and Cambodia. Two different countries that you would probably not think would cause the effect of this, but apparently Nintendo had moved their production to these two countries. Hence, it's going to find a way to basically navigate around these new tariffs that have been slammed on these two countries. You know what's crazy though? When you look at their own estimated tariffs against the US, they're 90% estimation from Vietnam to the US and Cambodia 97%, and the United States is slapping them with 46% and 49%. This is a GG. How is Nintendo going to even, deal with this? Because this was announced a day after the Nintendo Direct. Nintendo fans were saying drop the price, drop the price, drop the price. And then now the administration has basically, in one way or the other, influenced the price. We don't know how that's going to look on Nintendo's side. So what are they going to do? Some people have said maybe they'll go ahead and drop the price. Some people have speculated that maybe they'll increase the price. Some are hoping that maybe they'll keep the price the same. However it goes, Nintendo really doesn't have too much of a great outlook other than people come back to the negotiating table and things basically go ahead and balance out. So if Vietnam has an objection to this, then they can probably go ahead and hike more in terms of tariffs, which, if you think about what's going on, this particular president is like, we'll go up even more. Or they come back down and negotiate, and Nintendo will be out of the weeds. This is crazy. And it's not just one country that have to do it. It have to be two countries where they actually produce their goods, or they find a different way, eat the loss, and start finding other means of production in much more tax favorable areas that could actually make their own goods, of which China seems like they're probably not going to be in the same question, as they've also ramped up their own tariffs as well. It's crazy. I'm not going to raise my hand and say it's over, but bro, where's Nintendo going to come in and fit into all of this? Because they've now halted US pre-orders and they're going to assess the situation. If they raise the price, they're toast. They are by default toast. All of you that were making noise, I think apparently there are a lot of Nintendo fanboys out here. Calm down, breathe, relax. Okay? Don't do that. I know you like Nintendo, but don't go pro-corporate on me. I don't like these corpos. I may defend some of the things that they're doing if they're pro-consumer because they benefit the consumer, but don't be fooled. I can't stand them. Okay? And it's not that I just have like some kind of a vitriol against corporations. It's just that I understand that they will milk the consumer without giving good value whenever they get the opportunity if people that are running them don't have a value-centric or customer-centric proposition at heart. That's all you need. You just need a person that has the conviction and the opportunity to run these companies, and they'll run it the way that they want. I strongly believe that Nintendo does not have the consumer's best interest at heart other than Nintendo's. So now in this situation, Nintendo is going to pretty much show you how pro Nintendo it is. And you, the customer, haven't seen all the things that they basically went ahead and did in this direct with $80 digital titles from their own side and charging you, monies to upgrade digitally. They don't really have, in my opinion, any allies out here. Sorry. They soaked up all their goodwill with the hardcore saying, yeah, I'm going to buy it. And others saying, man, I don't know. And others saying, I can't afford it. So this is a weird and wild situation of which the only way they can come out of this, or there are two possibilities. One of them seemingly highly improbable that they would drop the price. The other one that they keep the price the same, eat the losses, and everybody would say, oh, Nintendo basically showed up as pro-consumer for us, bro. They didn't raise the prices, bro. Which will be a big financial pain that they will have to eat. But someone's got to eat a financial pain for the customer. I watched a video from Reforge yesterday where he was saying, oh, so you want these developers to spend more money to bring the games to other platforms while you spend less money? And I said, yes. And I think that's probably what Nintendo is going to be proven with the challenge, as some of the options that are in front of them with this. Because many gamers are not going to want to pony up another $50 or whatever it is. And this console apparently maybe might need to sell a lot to push them. Lucky for them, their game costs are not really that high, and third party will be there to pretty much launch games that would probably support them. But they're launching a console in a different environment. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just year one of this administration. So this is not a thing where it's like, oh, this administration is basically changing or leaving very soon. This is what their first 3 years of their console launch is going to look like. It's being born in the middle of a trade war. Those who are Nintendo fans, how should you navigate by this? How should you navigate around this? Keep your money in your pocket and wait for the very best deal to come about it. Nintendo now needs your money more than ever. You have bargaining power. Again, like I said, I couldn't be bothered by these companies. To me, it's all about the advantage that I can get from them. To my fellow man, I owe it to you to help you if you're in need. I see that as a reality. Does that make sense? But to a corporation that's here to basically buy private jets for its own executives, nah, man. Sure, I'll probably add to your little jet fund, but it's only on my own terms. I will not be bound by your own terms to do so. Get the heck out of here with that. So you as a consumer, perhaps you may be able to adopt a little bit of that, cynicism, that I'm displaying over here and say, you know what, Nintendo, you need my money now. I'm going to make you actually earn it. Because I've seen a lot of this throwing of the flowers everywhere. People telling me things like, stop with that Steam Deck nonsense. Like, come, let's not jump into ignorance, bro. Come on now, let's not do It's not, this is not the time to do it. Does that make sense? I saw a comment that, this person saying, oh, this is this about the Steam Deck. It's 800p. Yeah. This one said, Chris Wright said, stop with the Steam Deck nonsense. Me? Bruh, you got to go talk to the market, man. I'm not here to actually tell you whether or not to buy a Steam Deck. Go ask the market if you can afford a Nintendo Switch. Even if they keep the price as is, are people going to look at these tariffs basically affecting their own personal lives and still justify $80 to $90 Nintendo exclusive games? And even those game developers that may want to take advantage of that, like you're seeing CD Projekt Red wanting to sell the 40 FPS version of Cyberpunk for $70. Are people going to be able to justify that? Are people going to be able to deal with that? These are questions that are going to be asked because now not only Nintendo is going to be facing so-called tariffs, don't get me wrong. Others are going to be facing the effects of these tariffs as well. The value is going to basically be who can pretty much give the gamer enough for their money. We're going to see how this plays out. I've told you, Nintendo is not immune. They are not immune from economic forces. They are not immune from economic forces.